Alongside Julia Kennedy, I'm Brett Williams. Welcome to our broadcast this afternoon. Glad to have you with us. Last night's SEC opening game of the season was quite a battle in South Carolina. Unable to get it done, Texas pulls off a 4-2 victory to push its record to 20-1 on the year. Now, there weren't a lot of hits in that game, but Julia, Katie Stewart certainly had a couple big ones.
She absolutely did, Brett. She was responsible for 3 of the Longhorns' 5 hits, including this 2-run home run in the 3rd. That's her 8th home run in the last 12 games. She is just crushing the ball right now, seeing it really well. She finished last night with 3 RBIs.
Now the Gamecocks are hoping to get their big boppers going too. Tate Davis is one of them who's starting to heat up.
Yeah, head coach Ashley Chastain-Woodard said Tate Davis was showing more power in the offseason than she had maybe ever seen before, and we're starting to see that kind of payoff here now. Davis is on a 9-game hitting streak with 3 homers and 3 doubles in that time, and she'll need to keep turning it up as SEC play comes along.
Meanwhile, in the circle, South Carolina sends out its ace for Game 2. It's Jory Hurd.
Yeah, the Longhorns already got a pretty good look at Jory yesterday. She went in and relieved Lamb and threw 4 2/3 innings, but I thought she was very effective in putting the lid on this Texas offense, only giving up 2 hits there, and this will be a good test for Jory here to see how many innings she can eat up.
As Texas grows its familiarity with Jory Hurd, should be an interesting second go-round between these two. We are underway with a first pitch strike to Caden Henry. Longhorns and Gamecocks meeting for the first time as SEC opponents this weekend. It's only the second time that Texas has ever visited Columbia, South Carolina. As you see the rest of the lineup behind Caden Henry for these Longhorns. Again, 20-1 on the season, 18 straight wins as they look to defend their first national championship in program history. Henry, a stalwart leadoff hitter for the Horns. She's put together a nearly 400 stretch over her last 9 games, 4 of those contests having multiple hits therein. But down 1-2 and make it 1-3 as Jory Hurd strikes out the first batter she faces.
Yeah, that's a big out there for Jory Hurd, just to get that confidence and momentum coming into Game 2 here, starting off with your leadoff. We saw Henry yesterday really struggle at the plate, and Jory Hurd just kind of taking advantage of that, getting the first out here for the Gamecocks.
And now she'll face Leanne Good, who is nursing a 6-game hitting streak, batting .500 in that stretch. Good 1 for 4 yesterday in the series opener between these two. San Antonio native in her final year on the 40 acres. Off the hack that time, strike 1. So Jory Hurd on the season is making now her 6th start, her 14th appearance. Has a 3-1 record and a very solid 1.42 ERA. Veteran on this Gamecock staff, has been here all 4 years, which is getting more and more uncommon these days in the transfer portal era. She did not enter it when head coach Beverly Smith left after a couple of years. With Jory, at least, Beverly Smith was here for quite some time, and this is now the 2nd year under head coach Ashley Chastain-Woodard, and Jory Hurd has emerged as what her head coach calls the alpha role for this team. Payoff pitch now to Good. In the air to right field. Nia McKnight has a beat on it. 2 away. So a look back to last night. Again, a 4-2 victory for the Longhorns. A lot of the action happened early on as both teams walked a run in the 1st and 2nd inning respectively, and then Katie Stewart really turned things around with that 2-run shot we showed you in the open.
She's been so critical to the offense, just providing that power. I mean, you put her right behind Reese Atwood, that 1-2 punch right there, that's difficult for any pitcher to be facing, especially as we go into SEC play.
Kaya Altmaier, a pretty good 3-hitter at that. Matter of fact, she only has 3 hitless outings on the entire season to this point. And case in point, Today won't be another one. So Altmaier aboard with 2 outs. And now the aforementioned big pair of hitters in Atwood and Stewart due up.
Yeah, Altmaier just does a good job of keeping her hands high on this pitch coming in from Hurd, gets on top of it, hits a hard ground ball, gets into right field, able to get the first base runner here for the Longhorns in the top of the first.
Reese Atwood, the stud catcher for Texas.
I think stud might be an understatement when talking about Reese Atwood.
Fair point.
I mean, 11th right now in the nation with RBIs, 33 on the season, 17th in the country right now with home runs, already with 9. As we talked about previously, you know, she set the program record for career home runs, and that number's just climbing for her.
At 64 right now, and she also is the NCAA's active leader in career RBIs at 255. So yeah, how about stud plus? Down 0-2 here.
You know what I love right now is you see those younger girls in that front row right now behind the dish. They have their cameras out on their phone right now trying to capture this at-bat right now for Reese Atwood. That's how big she is right now in this game.
One of those fans has her jersey on as well. Burnt orange with the white pinstripes. 1-2 pitch swung on and missed, and Jory Hurd retires Atwood. 2 Ks on 4 batters faced for Hurd in the top of the first. Gamecocks getting off to a good start today. Couple of Ks sets up their offense for the first time when we return. Citlali Gutierrez gets the start for the Longhorns today. She's actually 4th out of the 5 pitchers for Texas in appearances this year, but she's been around the program a little while and not too bad stats to go along with it.
Yeah, not a whole lot of innings pitched so far on the season, just 16, but when she is in there, she is effective. Already 10 Ks through those 16 innings. Just a 2.19 ERA. You'll really see her effectively use that drop as well, and that's kind of her go-to when attacking hitters.
10 Ks, 3 walks on the season. This is just her 3rd start. She goes for game 2 in this series. Tegan Cavan, the Longhorns ace and one of the best pitchers in the history of the Women's College World Series, went the distance last night, held South Carolina to 2 runs, only 1 was earned. And figure to see Cavan in the series finale tomorrow. And here's Quincy Lelio for South Carolina, who her head coach calls the prototypical leadoff hitter, and in her opinion, the best leadoff hitter in the country. I'll tell you a little bit more why as you see the rest of the Gamecocks who line up behind her. Gamecock fans didn't like the strike call, but it is called, and it's no balls and 2 strikes on Lelio. Quincy Lelio is tied for 3rd in the SEC in walks on the season. That was at least coming into the weekend. She's hitting .536 over her last 9 games, 6 walks in that time. This one will slowly work its way to second base where Leanne Good handles things for the first out of the game. So nothing doing for Lelio this time. See the Texas defense scattered in all whites throughout the field today. Pretty solid locked in lineup that they have used for much of this season, and when you're 20-1, why not?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Certainly ain't broke down there. Here's Carly Shelton. One for 4 a night ago on a 6-game hitting streak. Shelton, somebody that has just gotten better and better throughout her time in Columbia, has become just an all-tool player who does it offensively and defensively, just causes a lot of trouble for opponents.
And a big part of her development as well was learning how to be an effective leader. right? Carly Shelton, she can be a little intense sometimes for a lot of people. And, you know, for some people as in the leadership position, that works really well. And for others, it doesn't. So she actually worked a lot of time off the field with Coach Ashley Chastain-Woodard, just kind of developing different leadership skills that to be a little bit more effective for her team.
This will get to the gap. Nice coverage by Caden Henry in center to prevent an extra base hit. But Shelton gets things started for the Gamecock O.
I mean, that's Carly Shelton in a nutshell there. Just does a great job driving this pitch into the right center field gap. Another double on the year for her, raising that to 8 now. Excuse me, a single. Getting a little momentum there for her team. First base runner here for the Gamecocks.
Again, that was a nice job defensively by Caden Henry. Took the right angle to chase that ball down. That's probably a double against a lot of lesser center fielders. Now here's Ariana Rohde, former All-American and the reigning Gold Glove winner at first base. Trying to get fully unleashed as Gamecock fans got used to seeing of her last season. Only 5 for her last 28 over 11 games, though she does draw walks with the best of them. Gutierrez with the heater for strike 2. And 22 walks on the year. You see second best in the conference. She's also 8th best in the country in terms of walks per game. So a tough out. And this pitch gets away from the catcher Atwood, allowing Carly Shelton to advance to second.
That's something that's a little rare to see from Reese Atwood behind the plate, but Carly Shelton there on first, just taking advantage of what she can get from this Texas defense.
So opportunity now for Rohde with a runner in scoring position. Gutierrez came close to ringing her up, but did not, and the count is run full. Big moment early in the ball game. Here's the payoff. Rohde watches it high. No, it's called strike 3. That was just a very slow developing motion from home plate umpire Brett Higgins. We'll get another look to see where that ball landed. Perhaps. But nonetheless, it wasn't so much the location that threw me. It was his just stand up out of the crouch, back up, and then pull the trigger.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that pause, he didn't call it at first.
And off the edge of the bat goes Tori Inslee right to second, and the inning is over. So just like that, the K of Rohde and the pop out to Inslee were scoreless through 1. There's the skipper for the Texas Longhorns, reigning national champions, Mike White, who has had success in the highest of ways everywhere he's been. A nearly 800 career winning percentage over 16 years between the Oregon Ducks and now these Longhorns. And he's got the natty to show for it now as well.
And he's been a big part, as you said, as to Oregon kind of turning into that softball powerhouse, takes the job over at Texas, really turns them into the huge powerhouse that they are today. And, you know, big win for him, obviously, capturing that first ever Women's College World Series national championship for the Longhorns back last season in 2025.
Here's Katie Stewart, who had the outstanding night in game 1. 3 RBIs, the 2-run home run, another one that almost left the yard. She hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark and nicked off the top of the wall. And again, as you mentioned, Julia, 8 home runs in her last 12 games. That is quite the heater. And to tie that to her head coach, talk about a heater. 16 years, and in every year before this one, not counting 2020, in which Texas went 24-3, his team has gone to at least the Super Regionals. Every single year.
Yeah, that just shows how successful he is as a coach and the type of development that he's really given these players, whether it's him himself or bringing on other staff members to help better develop these athletes as well.
And to your point, one of those that he brought in for this year, associate head coach Aaron Earlywine, who is pretty decorated as a head coach himself. 14 years, over 600 wins most notably at Missouri for 12 seasons, went to 3 Women's College World Series with the Tigers, which is not a program that's necessarily easy to win in this sport.
And he has kind of taken over the hitting here for the Texas Longhorns as well. He brings a little bit more structure, a little bit more organization. And when you compare the offensive numbers from last year to this year, they're way ahead of those numbers.
You see so much production coming back from a year ago as it was. So building off of that foundation can really elevate what Texas does. Katie Stewart has fought off a couple of 3-2 pitches. She looks to inflict some more damage on the Gamecocks. Had both of those hits against Hurd last night. In relief of Neely Lamb. Third payoff pitch. In the air, playable for McKnight. One gone.
That's a big out for Jory Hurd. I feel like we said that, last inning and felt that up against Reese Atwood, and here she's coming in doing it here for Katie Stewart as well. Just really good to just kind of get them to just miss a little bit, and that's what you need. They're able to get that out. Big first out here for the Gamecocks.
Viana Martinez stands in from the left side for the Horns. Takes the first pitch strike on the inner half. Martinez coming back from injury. She had to medically redshirt a year ago, but was outstanding in her first couple years for the Longhorns, and has been again at shortstop now. This one nearly Texas leads, but Quincy Lelio runs it down for the second out.
That can be a really tough spot for a lot of teams, especially when it comes to communication out there between your left fielder, your center fielder, as well as your shortstop. Q out there in left field, just doing a great job calling for that ball. You saw towards the end there, Ensley kind of back off a little bit, give Q the space to make the out.
And now here's one of the most intriguing names in the sport, Hannah Wells, designated player for the Longhorns today. She was last year's Gatorade National High School Player of the Year. And she both pitches and hits. She has done both for these Longhorns, which are not an easy lineup to crack with all those veterans coming back. And her head coach told us earlier this week that she's not afraid of anything. Came right in, took control, doesn't think she's out of her league at all. And when you have that kind of mindset, it can earn you playing time quickly.
Especially as a freshman, right? For her to be able to come in and have that confidence of, I know I deserve to be here. I know I've earned this spot, and I'm going to work my tail off to earn a spot in that starting roster for, the defending national champions. Kudos to her.
The 1-2, she'll stay alive. Of her 9 hits on the season, 4 of Wells are home runs. And that's good for, tied for 3rd on the team in that category. Another 1-2 offering. Off speed from Jory Hurd, just missed up. We saw that a little bit last night too when Jory Hurd gets that changeup working. Really nice change of pace pitch. 2-2. Up and out. And Hannah Wells has worked the count full. Here it comes, and we'll do this once more.
Wells just doing a good job. She was behind in the count a little bit, has worked it up to a full count. Just fighting off anything she can just to keep her at bat alive, just trying to hunt down the best pitch for her right now.
Jory Hurd trying for a 3-up, 3-down inning. Goes for it here. Wells gives this a ride. This one hangs up for Quincy Lelio, and that's indeed what Jory Hurd gets. She's faced 7, she's retired 6. We're scoreless. middle 2. Ashley Chastain Woodard, the Gamecock alumna, now in her second year leading her alma mater, the reigning D1 softball national coach of the year after she oversaw a program revamp that went from sort of middle to bottom of the pack in the SEC to top half super regional host in just 1 year. An outstanding job for her, and now the program's expectations are that much higher.
And that was kind of a big challenge for her in addressing that with her team coming into this season, just focused on not living in the past. You know, last year's success doesn't dictate anything for this squad this year, and trying to create their own program, their own really team unity and culture for this individual season.
You certainly have to when you have a lot of new faces, as is the case for the Gamecocks this year. 10 transfers. Tate Davis is one of them, coming over from Ole Miss. It was a veteran team last year. A lot of, to use a professional term, 1-year rentals, 2-year rentals. A lot of folks coming in with Ashley Chastain Woodard from Charlotte, where she was an outstanding head coach before this. And they laid the legacy for what is to come, as she says about her team this year. Now the goal is to build upon that. Tate Davis sent down on strikes. Gutierrez, second K of the day.
Gutierrez just does such a good job of elevating that pitch in a way that catches the eyes of hitters. Just Tate Davis there chasing that pitch for the strikeout.
There's Lexi Winters, another of the ex-Charlotte 49ers. Winters, one of 4 co-captains for the Gamecocks this year. Highly respected leader behind the dish. And she too is trying to get on track offensively. Winters went 5 for 6 last Sunday in a doubleheader against Queen's University of Charlotte, but otherwise is batting just 2 for her last 25 over 12 contests. Down 0-2 here. Gets a piece. A lot of confidence from Citlali Gutierrez so far. And she gets Winters as well. That's 3 of the last 4 Gamecocks to strike out.
And Gutierrez, she did it earlier in this at-bat, and here she did on this strikeout pitch here as well. Just throwing a little bit of an off-speed pitch there, low and away, that's getting hitters to chase right now. I think it comes in looking a little faster than what it actually is from the hitter's perspective, and it's not a changeup, right? It's just an off-speed pitch, but it's really effective for her right now in the circle.
First pitch in on Shea Anderson. Gamecock shortstop, who started out pretty hot, hit 360 over her first 25 at-bats. Cooled off a little bit since then. The Gamecock offense as a whole, 9th in the SEC entering this weekend in batting average. They do have the 14th best on-base percentage in the country. And a lot of walks, hits by pitch, something that has become really a staple of this program, and that was even before Ashley Chastain Woodard got here. They were always one of the biggest ball magnet teams in the land. Now the goal is to try to get more of those runs arounds. Anderson will take her base, 4 straight balls.
It's great patience there by Anderson in the box. Just Gutierrez just missing really low, and in and out as well. Struggling to find the zone there a little bit. Gamecocks get a base runner here, bottom of the second, with 2 outs.
And DP Alyssa Hovermail tasked with trying to get one of those clutch hits. Conversation in the circle before the second pitch to Hovermail. South Carolina left 8 on base last night. They had 6 hits, actually out-hit Texas in the 4-2 Longhorns win, but all 6 of those hits were singles. And for Texas, again, getting the 3 RBIs from Katie Stewart with a very long, loud single and the 2-run home run. Timely hitting so critical. Six straight balls issued by Gutierrez. Got to imagine Hovermail remains static until a ball finds the zone. Not there. First time we've seen the Texas starter get into a little bit of trouble. Make it 8 straight balls. And now that will prompt more than just the catcher Atwood. It will prompt pitching coach Patty Ruth Taylor to come out of the Horns dugout and have a word with her starter. There's no action as of yet in the Horns pen. We'll see if that changes anytime soon.
And I like the approach that these South Carolina hitters, you know, Hovermail just had in that previous at-bat, as well as just being patient right now. You know, Gutierrez struggling to find the strike zone just in general, and, you know, she will find it and then she kind of falls back out of it as well. So I like that they're being patient right now. They're waiting for their pitch. They're waiting for her to prove that she can efficiently attack the strike zone and attack these hitters.
Gutierrez was a first-team All-Big 12 pick 2 years ago as a freshman. Texas's last year in that conference before coming over to the SEC. Check that. That was her sophomore year, but she was an all-freshman pick in the Big 12 in 23. Led the team in ERA that year. So here's Nia McKnight trying to see what she can do with this. Couple Gamecocks on base. McKnight, somebody that has a bit more power than 5'3" might betray. 7 of her 11 hits on the season have gone for extra bases.
And we've seen her in different spots in this lineup as well, right? From day one, she necessarily wasn't a starter, ended up earning that position out in right field, and the coaching staff has really kind of played with her a little bit as far as where do they like her in the lineup. And they originally kind of had her in that 7 spot, but she's kind of found her way to the 9 hole, and I really like that spot for her in the lineup. Just a good mix of power and speed to kind of turn over the lineup here for South Carolina.
She's able to turn over the lineup here. It might give the Gamecocks their first run of the day. We shall see. Gutierrez ahead for the first time in a couple of batters, now at 1-2. McKnight, there's that pop. Eight RBIs on the season, couple homers. Another 1-2. Outside 2-2.
A little bit of a pressure situation here for Gutierrez, and you know, unfortunately, you know, this kind of hard part about that as well is she hasn't pitched a whole lot this season, right? Only 16 innings, so she's getting used to that pressure situation, trying to kind of bear down and really rely on her past experiences and past success in these types of situations.
It's turning into a competitive at-bat here for McKnight. As she quickly went down 0-2, has worked it to an even count and a couple of foul tips with 2 strikes. Not even tips, one of those was a liner in foul territory. And now it's full. Quincy Lelio awaits on deck for South Carolina. Gamecocks trying to break through here. There's the payoff to McKnight. In the air, Tracked down by Leanne Good. And the Gamecocks will strand a pair. Gutierrez works her way out of the jam. No score through 2 innings in Columbia. Taking a look at the preseason poll as we get into SEC opening weekend. Texas, again, the reigning national champions, predicted to win the league this year. They finished 3rd in 2025. South Carolina was tied for 7th in the conference last year, which is actually only the 2nd time they'd finished higher than 8th in the league since 2003. So again, something that Ashley Chastain Woodard was able to do. But the bottom line is, it is so tough in the SEC when everybody 1 through 15 to this point in the season has either been ranked, is currently ranked, or has received votes at some point in time.
I mean, that's just the gauntlet that the SEC is. And I think, probably a lot of South Carolina fans were maybe a little bit upset seeing them ranked 10th in the preseason poll, especially after the Super Regionals run that they had made last year. But the way I kind of told them was like, hey, this is a chance for you to prove people wrong, right? You're underestimated, prove them wrong. You have that opportunity, and that's kind of been their kind of mindset throughout this season.
This one a tough one, but grabbed by Shea Anderson. Had to go a long way for it. Tracks it down. A lot of ground to cover for the Gamecocks shortstop. And she's established herself very well in the dirt defensively this year, this time showing off her legs a bit.
There's a big competition as to who was going to take over that starting spot for shortstop here for the Carolina defense, but she worked hard, she found it, she earned that spot and locked it down by about the beginning of January. That's what Coach Ashley Chastain Woodard said, and since she's done there, she's really kind of come into her own and grown and developed and really matured into that spot here.
Meantime, Ashton Maloney, longtime Longhorn out of Missouri. Second team All-SEC pick last year. Sends Shea Anderson the other way behind second base, and Anderson could do the same thing working to her left as to her right.
I mean, shortstop's usually where you put your most athletic kid, right, in the infield. She just does a great job of having a great drop step there, hunting down that ball and avoiding the base as well. Could have very easily gotten tripped up there, stepping on that base.
Back to the top of the order for Texas, and 2 quick outs recorded on those pop-ups to Anderson. Hayden Henry struck out to open the ball game. Batting .390 on the year, 19 RBIs, couple of home runs. Shows bunt this time, doesn't offer. Another note about just how tough the SEC is, just to illustrate this. I mentioned earlier how South Carolina has the 14th best on base percentage in the country. That is 8th best in this conference. One hopper gets down in center field before Tori Inslee can get there with her mitt, so Caden Henry has a 2-out base hit.
That's a good momentum boost for Caden Henry at the plate there. She had struggled a little bit yesterday in that game, went 0 for 4 in this game today, struck out her first at-bat, able to get nice barrel on the ball, single right up the middle. Great momentum and real confidence boost for her as she gets on for first base.
Leanne Good flied out to right her first time up. She'll try to lay one down. Right off the plate. Hurd has her sign. And with the 0-1, runner going close, and she is out. I think we're going to take another look at this. Caden Henry remains at second. Haven't seen an official sign for a review just yet, but despite the fact that all the Gamecocks exited the dirt.
At second base. That call is being challenged by Texas.
Henry remains there, and it is indeed a challenge from Mike White and the Longhorns.
I mean, that was a bullet throw from Lexi Winters behind the plate, and she could not have placed that ball any better, right? You don't want to throw it directly at the base. You want to throw it to whoever's covering. Carly Shelton right there where that glove is. Bang, bang play.
I think from, let's see, this will probably be a more instructive angle. It is tough to see visually just where Caden Henry's left foot is, and frankly whether that glove makes contact with her calf.
Looks like she finally applies the tag right around that ankle.
I'll put it this way. I think that's tough based on those angles to overturn, but common sense sort of dictates that she was in there safely. Unfortunately, common sense is not a valid criterion for making a call like this.
And, you know, for South Carolina, for the defense, too, they would have had to expect Caden Henry, when she gets on, she's going to steal. She's 14 for 14 prior to this attempt right here. She leads the team in that as well.
Leads the conference as well. And to your credit, it looked like Henry would beat that thing by a mile. Lexi Winters did everything she could to give her team a chance.
After further review, the call on the field stands. The 11 is out.
Well, there you go. Again, you can't use common sense to make a call. Not enough conclusive evidence to say Caden Henry was in fact in there safe. Maybe this will help us out. Hard to see behind the umpire. One more. Bang, bang. Has to stay. South Carolina out of it. Truly does just mean more in this conference than so many sports, and softball is one of the chief among them. It's an absolute gauntlet of teams. There are currently, I believe, 6 in the top 10. South Carolina will play 4 of them this season, Texas obviously being one of them. And the Longhorns will get the other 2 in addition to Alabama, who both teams see.
And you really talk, it's like any day anybody can win, right? We had 8th ranked Florida just barely sneak by Mizzou earlier today as well. And then we also see LSU right now on top of Tennessee, 4-1 second inning in that game as well.
Tennessee has looked darn near unbeatable this year, but like
they have been unbeatable. They're 21-0.
This is true. Quincy Lelio in her second year here at South Carolina after coming over from a 4-time national champion in a row, at least, Oklahoma Sooners. They've won, of course, a lot more national championships than just those 4. And they did win the SEC in the regular season last year in their first year in the league, but at a record of just 17-7. Quincy Lelio able to beat it out. The first base umpire made the out call, but that was because he didn't expect the ball to pop out of the glove of Katie Stewart. Because it did, Lelio is safe.
Now Lelio does such a good job of utilizing her speed, using the ground here. Made that pretty close, probably closer than what I originally thought it was there, but able to take advantage of that hustle down for the first base runner here for the Gamecocks of the 3rd.
So this goes down as an error. First miscue of the game on either side, and Mike White talked to us about that this week as really the one thing he really needed to see his team shore up. They have the 4th most errors of any team in the SEC and the 2nd worst fielding percentage as a unit. See if the Gamecocks can do anything with it. Carly Shelton plays it off the glove of Gutierrez. Everybody's safe, and South Carolina's cooking in the 3rd.
Yeah, for Gutierrez in the circle, you know, she sees that ball coming back. She wants to kind of make an attempt to get it. But it's also one of those plays as well that, as a pitcher, it's sometimes okay to just let that go and rely on your defense to get that out. You know, I'm pretty sure Martinez would have been able to field that cleanly. It would have gotten an out, whether it was at 1st or 2nd. Carly Shelton just taking advantage. Now runners 1st and 2nd.
Chance for Ariana Rhodey. Big swing. She wanted all of it, got none of it.
Yeah, that's that off-speed curve right now that she's been using. It's so effective, so good, and it's really difficult for these hitters to be timing up. Just about a 5-mile-an-hour difference between that and usually her drop ball that she's throwing pretty hard.
Well, Rhodey thinks about small ball. Don't see that from her very often. And Ariana Rhodey, really good at walking. She still leads this team in home runs. She also strikes out the most. Not all that atypical of a stat line for a power hitter. If there ever were a time for her to get going, this would be it. The 0-2. This one is hit hard, deep to center field. It won't be deep enough to get out of here. Is it deep enough to advance the runner? It is not. A great job by Caden Henry to track it down and fire it in to keep Lilio at second.
Yeah, Rhodey just barely missed that. You heard it got a lot of barrel. Just missed a little bit on there. Game of inches could have been a big difference maker here for the Gamecocks, but Caden Henry out there in center field does a great job of tracking this ball down, keeping Lilio there at second.
Here's Tori Inslee. Popped out on her first pitch she faced. Inslee has 10 RBIs over her last 8 games. 40% of her hits on the season for extra bases. Another one would break the seal in this game. And there it is, down the right field line. Quincy Lilio being sent from third. Does she get there in time? She does not. We will see what the call here is. Third base coach Jody Davidson screaming for a review. It was an odd situation there because Reese Atwood was a couple steps up the line when she caught the throw in from Ashton Maloney. And Lilio tried to play dodgeball, came down, tried to slap the plate. Was there ever a tag? And did her hand ever hit the plate? Let's see.
And that was my question. I never thought she got tagged, but I also didn't think Lilio touched home either. So that's why I was also kind of confused why there was a call in general.
So 2 different things to look at here. Was it a phantom tag and was it a phantom tap? I thought in real time that she would be out, and I think if Maloney puts that right to the plate, she clearly is.
The call on the field was out at the plate. This call is being challenged by South Carolina.
So back to the monitor we go.
And I completely agree with you. If Maloney had put that throw on the money, I think Lilio would have been out by a mile. Just that throw kind of pulling Reese Atwood up the third base line a little bit. Yeah, and I'm not sure Lilio even touches home there.
It's hard to see from that angle. There she
does.
Maybe. I personally don't think from that angle you can see conclusively that either of those things happens. And I didn't see Lilio go back and touch home plate after the call either. But I would say, well, here you go.
After further review, the call on the field has been confirmed. There was no obstruction. This is South Carolina's first challenge.
So the review was actually about obstruction. Which I guess makes sense, but I was just about to say I'll use the same logic that I used on the caught stealing a bit ago, where you can't really see for sure the tag or the tap, so you might have to let it stand. And turns out it stood for a different reason, or was confirmed for a different reason, I should say.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that they were reviewing that for obstruction in itself.
So let's make sense of all of that. Tori Inslee with the single to right, but Lilio thrown out on the 9-2. And so now runners at first and second with 2 away for Tate Davis. Davis chops it toward third. J.C. Nichols sees he does it. And a couple of more stranded for South Carolina. When we come back, we'll chat with Mike White as his Longhorns look to break the game open in the fourth. No score as we go to the fourth, and head coach of the Texas Longhorns, Mike White, gracious enough to join us here. Coach, your team is seeing Jory Hurd for South Carolina in the circle, second straight day. Pitched with confidence today. What do you need to see from your offense as they see her for the second time today and the second time this weekend?
Yeah, I think that she's really good with her location, so we got to make the adjustment and kind of pick a location on her and make her work a little bit harder than what she's doing right now, because we're taking her the hitter's pitch and swinging her pitch.
And Coach, talk about the thought process to starting Gutierrez today, and talk about her performance overall.
Yeah, well, she's one of those kids that had a good start her last time out, and so we feel pretty confident that using her off speeds and mix of locations should be a good matchup for them.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you joining us, and good luck the rest of the weekend.
You're welcome. Hook 'em.
Hook 'em horns, he delivers that. And it's funny, he told us earlier in the week that Texas is always the hunted team. He said, because everyone's asking, well, of course, you win your first national championship, you're going to have that extra chip on your shoulder. And he basically brushed it off. He said, we're Texas. Everybody wants to beat us. There's games that don't even involve a Texas team, and people are doing horns down. So that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, it seems like no matter what the sport is, Texas is one of those teams where if you're a Texas fan, you're so diehard for that program. But it also comes with a lot of haters as well.
We were talking a little bit before the game that, Mike White, again, originally from New Zealand. You heard that in his voice. He's played internationally both for them as well as for Team USA after getting dual citizenship back in the 90s. Coaches at Oregon, finds his way to Texas. So not exactly a lifelong Texan by any means, but you see he has embraced everything that it means to be a Longhorn. And again, now he's got the trophy as well, so they love him down there in Austin. And
he kind of fits the mold for that too, and part of it was coming off of that, national title last year. He really wanted to emphasize, like, pressure is a privilege, and he kind of talked about when he came into Texas, there wasn't a whole lot of pressure.
Leanne Good lofts this one out to left for the first out. Yep, that's something both of these coaches have talked about quite a bit, as the way that, again, their program expectations have skyrocketed, and the fact that that's a good problem to have. Again, Mike White's teams have gotten to super regionals every single year. He's trying to keep it rolling and now go back-to-back for this, honestly, relatively young program. It's only the 29th full season in Texas softball history. Off-speed pitch finds the zone. Jory Hurd continues to work ahead of Longhorn bats. I think to what Coach White was talking about just there, trying to get some long at-bats, foul off some pitches, make Hurd work a little bit. She's been in control as she is here again against Altmaier. The 0-2 pitch. There's a foul tip. So Kaya Altmaier stays alive. She singled to right her first time up. One of 2 Texas base hits today. South Carolina has 3. Teams have combined to strand 6. Hurd misses outside. Close but correct. Last night, these teams combined to leave 14 runners on base. Only plate 6. And what's interesting as well is Texas, one of the best offenses in the land, and put up 7 or more runs in all but 3 games on the season coming into last night. Only get 4 against the Gamecocks, but it was enough thanks to Tegan Kavan. A complete game gem. That is a called strike 3. Altmaier knew it. Even though Brett Higgins took a while to call it, I think everybody in here knew what he was about to do.
Oh, this pitch from Jory Hurd is so dirty. Just that changeup right there, right on the outside half. Getting Altmaier just to kind of freeze up right there. Not much she could really do with that one.
Third strikeout for Jory Hurd, and now the base is empty and 2 away for Reese Atwood, who was also a strikeout victim back in the first.
you talk about collectively as a whole how good this Texas offense is. They're 7th in the country in a team batting average, and this is kind of like crazy where the scope of college softball is right now. Mind you, they're not first, they're not second, they're 7th in the country with batting average, and their team is almost averaging 400 as
That's
a team.
insane.
I mean, you're lucky if you would be having a successful season as a team if you were averaging like 330.
Yep.
You would still consider that a very, very successful season.
Well, Reese Atwood and her teammates have done a nice job elevating those stats in all the aspects, and a little bit of international experience for Atwood as well.
And that international experience playing, you know, in the USA softball kind of pool and group and organization that it is, it just gives you a raised level of competition and development and practice and all that stuff. And Coach Mike White had kind of touched on one thing that she really leaned that she needed to develop was really her receiving behind the dish. That's something that she's kind of really worked on, and that's kind of her goal, to develop that as a whole so that she can secure that spot on the Team USA roster, especially with the Olympics coming up here in 2028 out in LA.
And of course,
Well, the Olympics are
exactly.
in LA, but they'll be playing in Oklahoma City, yes.
As if they could play anywhere else.
Yeah,
Oklahoma
where else
City,
would you rather play in
exactly.
the United States?
The 1-2 to Atwood. It was just foul. Over to Tate Davis at third. Atwood, the reigning Johnny Bench Award, the nation's best catcher a year ago. 2-time unanimous first-team All-American. So good of a shot to make that Team USA roster as any. Right into the shift. Carly Shelton was there. She knew it was coming. Another 3 up, 3 down inning. We are halfway home in Columbia, and we'll talk with the head coach of the Gamecocks, Ashley Chastain Woodard, when we come back. Second-year head coach of the Gamecocks, Ashley Chastain Woodard, kind enough to join us here going into the bottom of the fourth. Coach, Jory Hurd's been outstanding today. Second time she's faced Texas on the weekend, and we seem to see a lot of confidence from her today. What have you seen?
Yeah, I see the same thing you're seeing. Her command is really good right now. It's honestly, I would argue, better than it was last night, and I thought she threw really well last night. So, you know, that's what you really want in your ace, is that they get better as the series goes on. And so I think she's given us a chance to win the game, and we've got a lot of momentum, and I think we're about to break through. So, you know, just kind of keep hanging tight, and I think we're also playing really good defense behind her, which really gives her a lot of confidence.
Coach, a question for me here. Your hitters being able to adjust from Cavan yesterday to Gutierrez today. How do you think they're doing right now and really adjusting to that?
I think they're doing good. You know, Gutierrez throws a lot of off speed. So I think that, you know, some of the lessons we learned early in the season when we got beat by a lot of off speed is really paying off for us right now. So I think they're being really tough in the box, tough outs, and I think that they're right on it.
Bats back to work. Coach Chastain Woodard, thanks for joining us, and good luck the rest of the day.
Thank you.
So still looking for the first run of this ball game for either side. Interestingly enough, I mentioned earlier how Texas typically puts up 7 or more in a lot of games. South Carolina defensively has been really good when they keep their opponents under 5. Until last night, they were 15-2 on the season when keeping their opponents to 4 or fewer runs. So now that's 15-3 as they gave up just 4 but lost a night ago. And again, the question just comes into who gets the timely hits. Lexi Winters would love to crank one here. Not obviously a home run, they would love that, but any kind of base hit to get something going for South Carolina. Gamecocks have 3 hits against Lali Gutierrez today. They've stranded 5. Winters on the ground to second. Leanne Good can't come up with it. It's another error for Texas. And maybe that's the spark that the Gamecock offense has been looking for.
Yeah, this ball going towards Leanne Good, a little choppy, just not staying down on the ball enough. Gets through into right center field, but as you said, that could exactly be the spark that this South Carolina offense needed, right? Coach Mike White has talked before the struggles with this Texas defense, and the errors have kind of added up for them and made games a little bit more challenging for them than they really should be. And South Carolina just trying to take advantage of anything that they're given right now. Try to get something going here.
It's the 23rd error on the season for Texas, only the second by Leanne Good. A lot of different Longhorns have played into that. Good couldn't quite get the ball out of her glove in time to potentially turn to and erase that, but still, Texas will take it. Same situation, but now 1 out. And now Mike White and everybody in the Longhorn infield gathers in the circle. There is finally a little bit of action going on in the Texas pen, but no one has really had any time to properly warm up, so I can't imagine Gutierrez is coming out just yet. Maybe a defensive conversation more than anything else.
I was just about to say, I think he's kind of reminding his team of, you know, they need to clean up things defensively, and right now they're giving South Carolina an opportunity, and when really there should be 2 outs with nobody on.
So Shea Anderson at first on the fielder's choice, 1 away for Alyssa Hovermail, who walked her first time up on 4 straight balls. That one's a strike, painting the inside corner. Overmail 7 for 16 over her last 7 games. And she has started to become the go-to designated player for the Gamecocks. The 0-2 on the ground to third. This one fielded well by Nichols. Potentially a double play. It is. And credit that Texas defense answering the call from their head coach and getting out of the inning as quickly as they got themselves into trouble. Defense on display right after the miscues. Started with 2 errors. This is 2 outs. Cocky's the man of the hour, as he often is here at Carolina Softball Stadium at Beckham Field. That's looks like a goodie cup of sorts. Certified Gamecock rally towel.
I think she was just telling Cocky to clock it.
Oh, yeah?
It's the new lingo these days.
Oh, is that the latest?
That's what the kids are talking about these days.
Oh, dear. So and that's not even Gen Z, right? That's Gen Alpha. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Okay. We've just aged ourselves up here. But so it goes. Zori Hurd finds the strike zone against Katie Stewart. And for the second time in this game, Stewart's leading off an inning, which very important for the South Carolina defense to have been able to get the final out from Reese Atwood and not have Stewart come up right after her. So the Smash Sisters, shall we say, of the Longhorns split between innings.
And Coach Mike White kind of talked about how they have a little bit of a friendly rivalry right between the two, but facing them back-to-back can be super tough for pitchers and the defense as a whole. But, you know, Katie Stewart offensively, she's really elevated her game lately. She came in and had kind of a couple holes in her swing, but she's really reduced those holes, and she's been a great resource to have as well, and her power numbers have really exploded lately.
Gamecock fans coming to life from the 2-2 counts. Strike 3, swing and a miss as Jory Hurd fools Stewart. 4th K of the day for the Gamecock starter.
You heard Coach Ashley Chastain-Woodard talking about it, the command right now that Jory's been having this game compared to even yesterday and even previous games as well. I think she's looking so good right now. She's really effectively and efficiently using that changeup as well to kind of throw these hitters their timing off in the box.
And that was a filthy pitch upon replay, because, you know, typically with the changeups, right, you see a significantly slower pitch. That thing was coming in hot and then just dove off at the last second.
Well, that's kind of the challenge for hitters, right? Or for pitchers at least, trying to make every pitch coming out of the hand look exactly the same so that, you know, the hitters can't really take anything off of it.
Viviana Martinez here for Texas. Flat out to left her first time up. You heard Ashley Chastain Woodard talk about how Jory Hurd's command, in her opinion, even better today than it was last night. The stats bear that out. No runs, 2 hits right now is all Texas has been able to muster. 4 strikeouts for Hurd. That was nearly a base hit, but it's just foul. Other than the first inning in which Jory Hurd faced just 4 batters, she has seen the minimum in every frame since. One of those, of course, courtesy of the caught stealing after Caden Henry singled in the 3rd. The 2-2, it's upstairs. That caught stealing, by the way, 4th of the year for Lexi Winters. Good for 2nd best in the SEC. Payoff to Martinez. We will do it again. Punches it into the air, and it's caught by Mia McKnight. Seemed like it was floating for a while there. Didn't know where it would land. McKnight ran it down.
Jory does a great job with this pitch in its location, just throwing it up and really at the hands, jamming up Martinez there.
So now Hannah Wells. A deep fly out to left her first time up. Very solid numbers for a small sample size for the freshman. Out of Coahoma, Texas. Mike White said of Hannah Wells that we talked earlier how she doesn't think she's out of her league at all. He also used the phrase, she's going to come take the bull by the horns and shake it.
I mean, if you are recruiting a player, why would you want a player anything other than that?
Exactly.
Right? You want that confidence, you want that aggressiveness, just that attitude, that mindset of a competitor, knowing every single time she's going to be out there, whether it's, you know, in the circle for her or whether it's in the box as well, she's going to give you her absolute best that she has to offer.
Speaking of her in the circle, she's 3rd on the team in starts, 3rd in strikeouts, 2nd in opponent batting average. So definitely making a name for herself there as well. And now she's ahead of Jory Hurd, 3 balls and a strike. Off speed gets her to chase and get a piece.
You know, heading into this season, Coach Ashley Chastain Woodard talked about how this fall and coming into this spring season, this is the best that Jory Hurd has ever looked, in her opinion. And I think today in this game, we are seeing the best from Jory Hurd that we've seen all season long.
Full count offering. Wells pokes it out to left center. Lelio had a long way to go and readjusted at the last moment to bring it in. All smiles. She knows she may have gotten away with one just a little bit, but she got it done. And we remain scoreless in Columbia. Lelio, the slight extension to bring it in. Absolutely spectacular day here at Carolina Softball Stadium at Beckham Field. Slight breeze, 80 degrees. It's the beauty of the South. A lot of great ballparks and scenes like this around the SEC. And a nearly full house on deck today. Great traveling contingent, as is typical for the Longhorns, and a whole lot of Gamecock fans, of course, here at home. Small ball being played here by South Carolina's Nia McKnight to open the 5th. That was barely foul. Opportunity now for the Gamecocks. We've talked a little bit about Jory Hurd doing such a nice job in the circle for the home team. Another 3-up, 3-down inning. When you're doing this to a 20-1 club, you got to get it going offensively. 9-1-2 chance to do that here.
And like you said, 9-1-2 chance here as well. But this is going to be, you know, another time that the Gamecocks are going to be going through the lineup. SECN Gutierrez.
9 retired on the 6-3. Viviana Martinez takes care of it.
And I think the question is going to be, okay, these hitters, they've seen Gutierrez. They've had multiple at-bats off her. How are they going to come in late in this game, making adjustments at the plate, trying to push a run across so they can get something going? It's going to come down to really the adjustments they make after their previous at-bats.
Lilio watches the first pitch outside. 0 for 1. Oh. Reached on an error earlier in this one. Grounded out to second as well. And this is when, if you're Lilio, you unleash all of your getting on base abilities, whatever it takes, and set up Shelton, Rohde, and Inslee.
And part of that very well just could be a walk, right? I think walks are kind of underdetermined, or what's the word I'm looking for?
Undervalued?
Underestimated.
There you go.
Thank you. I think they're a little underestimated on the stat sheet, but they do a lot for your offense. And Q, that's why she's one of the best leadoff hitters in the country, is her ability to be patient, to really hunt for strikes, but also lay off ones outside the zone and draw those walks.
This will get the job done, not via the walk, but via the base hit to left. So Lilio does indeed get something started.
She does a great job leaving that pitch on the outside half. Just kind of putting barrel out there, throwing her hands out there to the left side of the field, not doing too much with it. Not even sure she fully completed her swing on that, but just did enough to get the ball there in left field.
We're getting a look at the families of the Gamecocks in attendance. Bonnie Shelton, mother of the now due-up Gamecock Carly Shelton, comes up in a big situation here, and it's from her mother and her father and her sister and her brother that Carly Shelton has learned the arts of competition. One of the most competitive families you will ever see.
I mean, when everybody in your family is a D1 athlete, that has to be kind of, you know, the theme of the family and the culture is just that elevated competition level, even when it comes to, you know, doing stupid things as a kid, right? Making sure you get to the dinner table first, right?
Everything indeed becomes a competition. This is lined out to right. And it is caught by the right fielder, Ashton Maloney. So a good sounding connection from Shelton, but it does not get the job done. Now here's Ariana Rohde. Strikeout and a long fly out in this game. Talk about competitive. Rohde, not only a longtime softball player, but a hockey player as well, back in her home state of Rhode Island.
You can see the shift right now. The Texas defense is putting on Rohde. Their middle's pinched super far up the middle and corners. Well, Lee Stewart over there at first base, playing a little bit more in that 3-4 hole.
Rohde hitting .291 this year, 6 homers, 17 RBIs. Side, good job by Atwood to get up and protect. Comes the 2-1. Rhodey, a slow roller. J.C. Nichols gets to it and sends it across for the outs. South Carolina gets a single but can't do anything with it. Still no score through 5. So after Texas finishes up here at South Carolina, here's their road ahead in the SEC. And you see a lot of those numbers next to teams like we were talking about earlier, 6, 4, 9, 12, 15, all coming up for the Longhorns. Going to be quite a season for them to try to get to the top of the league in the regular season and then try to defend their natty.
You see that number 12 right there next to Georgia. I've got my eye on Georgia this season.
That was played well, expecting the bump from J.C. Nichols. Tate Davis hustles in and catches it for a very quick first out.
Davis over there at third just does such a great job of staying off of her heels, staying onto her toes, coming in to charge that ball, making sure she's there to get the out.
Ashton Maloney popped out to Shea Anderson her first time up. Everybody in for the Gamecocks as well, expecting something similar. Texas will see Georgia in the third to last week of the SEC season in Athens. They will also go to Alabama and Kentucky, which means they get their two arch rivals, Texas A&M and Oklahoma, on the 40 acres. They will certainly take that.
That Texas-Oklahoma battle, competition, just series, whenever they play each other, that is always some of the best softball to be watching.
Maloney flips it to left. Lelio, great effort. Comes up just short. And Lelio has seen the other side of that Red River rivalry, playing in Oklahoma for her first 2 years, so she has seen a lot more playing time here in Columbia. So I think you'd have to ask some Texas fans to do some soul searching to figure out who do they hate more, Oklahoma or A&M. So I've heard a lot of, it's been weird the last 12 years or so until last year when they became conference foes again with A&M, but there's a lot that runs deep there too. The 0-2 way outside. Maloney trying to slap. I mean, for crying out loud, both of those, Texas and Texas A&M, their fight songs mention the other.
Right.
So,
I mean, I would, I'm not a Texas, I'm not from Texas. I didn't go to school there. I'm not one to be able to have an opinion on this, but I would say it's with Oklahoma. That's just kind of the vibes that I get just from watching these games and listening and talking to fans of the programs. But focusing here on Ashton Maloney at the plate, she's been in the lineup a couple different spots. We've seen her, but she's really found, I think, a lot of comfort and confidence here in this 9 spot in the lineup, able to kind of play different ways, right? She's able to hit for power. She's able to slap, kind of do what she wants.
Jory Hurd able to take care of things again. Hurd has retired the last 8 Longhorns she has seen. Caden Henry, the last one to get a hit off of her, and then was caught stealing, now stands in. Hoping to start something. A little bit high for ball 1. Caden Henry, a 2-time second-team all-conference selection in the Big 12 2 years ago, SEC last year. Puts one down, that is fair. The throw to first probably wouldn't have been in time. Now it gets away from Shelton, and the extremely speedy Caden Henry heads up, takes second. That's exactly what Texas wanted.
In yesterday's post-game, Coach Ashley Chastain-Woodard talked about how she was a little disappointed in her team after game 1 because she felt that they made some really, really critical mistakes that led to this loss. And you know, this is one here that could be the difference in this game here. Just a throwing error. Shelton trying to come off the bag, trying to do the best she can to try and get that ball kicking away, giving Henry the extra base here.
And to your point, can't necessarily fault Lexi Winters for throwing in that situation. I don't think she would have gotten Henry on time, even if that throw was in the right spot. But now this ball is down in the outfield. Texas probably has the lead. 1-1 to Leanne Good. It was 0 for 2 in this contest. As expected, it does go down as a single and an error. So 2 base hits now for Caden Henry. Kaya Altmaier, the only other Longhorn to hit safely today. Hitters count to good. Out to right field. Nia McKnight won't get there. And indeed, Texas makes the Gamecocks pay. It's an RBI double for Leanne Good, and the Longhorns lead at 1-0.
I mean, that's exactly it right there, right? Those little mistakes right there, and a tight, close game like this, especially with the elevated competition level, that's the difference in these games a lot of the time. Leanne Good at the plate does such a great job of taking that ball into right center field there, falling right at the wall, giving enough space and time for Caden Henry to come around and score, really show off her speed.
RBI number 14 on the year for Leanne Good. Third and fourth hits of the ball game against Jory Hurd bring the first run around for Texas. Now Hurd and Winters will gather to discuss matters. Remind me of the position you played collegiately, Julia?
First base.
First base. All right, so you've got a little bit of a perspective on this. We'll see what Coach Chastain Woodard's about to do here. Does Jory Hurd come out of the game? Let's see. I think she will. So we'll perhaps hold the thought I was about to get to until the backside of the pitching change. Let's find out here. Yeah, indeed, Neely Lamb comes out of the dugout. Lamb started a night ago, was relieved by Hurd. They reverse roles today. And the Gamecock faithful giving an ovation to Jory Hurd. Outstanding effort today. But now our team trails 1-0. And we will step aside as Lamb warms up. Back after this. So Neely Lamb in relief today. She and Jory Hurd have become really the 1-2 punch for South Carolina for the majority of the season to this point. Lamb in her second year here in Columbia. A 2-3 record, a 3.30 ERA. Last night she had a 38-pitch first inning that nonetheless only gave up 1 run during that time. But Texas really made her work for it, and work for it is what she'll be tasked with doing again right here as she faces Kaya Altmaier in the 3-hole. With another runner in scoring position for Texas, trying to limit the damage to just 1 run and give her offense a chance to tie the game.
I think for Jory, just kind of encompassing her performance out today, fantastic, outstanding. Like I said earlier in the game, I think this is one of the best games and one of the best performances we've seen from her all season long. Just one tough hit that she gave up, and you know, that ended up being the difference there in that one. But Neely Lamb, great opportunity for her to kind of come in here and shut things down here late in the 6th.
She started off with a pair of strikes to Kaya Altmaier. So doing what she needs. Can she get the final strike / final out? Indeed she can. So a simple 1-3. Neely Lamb ends the threat there. But it's Leanne Good's RBI double to right field that breaks the seal and puts the Horns in front. pretty to opposite field. And now Texas trying to finish the job. 6 outs to get. Citlali Gutierrez gets only her 3rd start of the season today, but Julia, she has been fantastic.
And I think one of the biggest things about her is she's had her moments where she has struggled to find the zone a little bit, probably more walks throughout this game than she would have maybe hoped for, but she still finds a way to kind of come back, counteract that, attack hitters, and still be super aggressive in pounding the zone. And, you know, with that as well as that off speed's been super effective for her with Gamecock hitters.
Only those 3 strikeouts that you just saw. Texas as a staff is not a very strikeout dominant team. It's a lot of trusting their defense behind them. But they have kept the Gamecock bats very much in check last night and today. 10 hits for South Carolina, all of them singles. Tori Ensley trying to beat out a slow roller to second, can't do so, 1 away.
And that's the impact there that we're seeing with that off-speed pitch, right? It's just throwing off these Gamecock hitters. Tori Ensley there just way out in front of that pitch, caught it right on the knob of the bat, little dribbler.
So now Tate Davis in what might be her last chance to extend her 9-game hitting streak. She is 0 for 2 today. Mentioned 3 home runs over that 9-game stretch. Somebody that was hitting with exit velo around 80 miles an hour in the off season, which is quite something. I was expected to bring a whole lot of pop to the Gamecocks order. Can she do something in this moment? South Carolina, when it does not score at least 5 runs, just 2-6 on the season. All but one of their losses as such.
And Tate Davis's development from going to Ole Miss to coming here at South Carolina has been a little interesting, right? Maybe a little different than we would see from most hitters. She came in somebody that would kind of chase pitches out of the zone a little bit. She worked really hard in the offseason of kind of zoning in to what her strike zone should be. And it's almost gotten to the point now where she's almost a little too picky, right? And so the staff has really encouraged her to broaden that scope just a little bit more, you know, still keep it, you know, relatively tight, but just broaden it a little bit more. And because she's just been so effective. And as far as players on the teams, she's had one of the most growths with South Carolina since day one.
2-2 pitch here. Hard one right back to the circle. Gutierrez is there for it. And she has retired the last 4 bats of the Gamecocks, who are some of the toughest to get out. So now Lexi Winters, who reached on an error her last time up, but then a fielder's choice and a double play back-to-back ended that threat. Winters in the air. J.C. Nichols, 3 up, 3 down, go the Gamecocks. And now the Longhorns will play for insurance on the backside of this break. They lead it 1-0. South Carolina, here's what the road ahead has in store for them. Off week in just week 2, so they won't play another SEC foe for 2 more weeks. LSU comes here, and then it gets even tougher from there with 4 of their last 6 SEC series away from Columbia.
I mean, you see those seven games right there. 6 of them are top 20 ranked teams. That's just the slate of SEC play.
Including that 3-game set in Knoxville against, as we mentioned earlier, the still undefeated Tennessee Lady Vols. Texas is trying to win this series, at least clinch it today. Series finale tomorrow at noon. Our colleagues on the SEC Network will have that national broadcast. Each of these teams has just 4 hits in this game. It's been a defensive struggle of sorts. And Texas has been able to muster 5 runs. South Carolina just 2. give credit where credit is due as well. Texas has held opponents to 2 runs or less in 15 straight games. This will be a leadoff walk to Reese Atwood. And now Texas has things right where they want it, with Katie Stewart's coming up with a runner on and nobody out. So the pressure on Neely Lamb here, as we see the Gamecocks have made a change defensively. Jamie McKay now in the game in right field. Nia McKnight actually shifted from right to left, so it's Quincy Lelio who is now no longer in the field.
I think this is going to be the biggest challenge that Lamb is going to face right here in this game, right? You just had Reese Atwood. She was 0 for 2 on the day. You walked her. I don't necessarily think that's the end of the world, but either way, you still put a runner on first base. Then you have the very dangerous Katie Stewart up at the plate, who she's the type of player that can change the game with a single swing.
We'll see Aaron Earlywine and Mike White discussing matters with Katie Stewart. And that's Zach Parsons, pitching coach for South Carolina, to meet with Neely Lamb. Pinch runner also went in for Reese Atwood at first. It is Taylor Anderson now in. Off-speed pitch. Katie Stewart was looking for distance. Came up short.
Yeah, she was swinging for the fences on that one. Just flat out got fooled there by Lamb. Good way for Lamb to kind of tie this count right here.
Similar pitch. And now ahead in the count is Lamb. Anderson, a former Oklahoma State Cowgirl. First year now with Texas. Decent waist pitch that time from Lamb.
And you see her 3rd straight time there that she's throwing that changeup, and that's kind of been a huge part of her development as well. Her change, you know, sometimes it's on and sometimes it's off with her. It's finding the consistency of having it on more times than not. But when it's on, man, it is elite.
2 balls that were not particularly close. Makes things interesting here. Full count to Stewart, who has 31 RBIs so far this season. 2 off of Atwood for the team lead.
You see the shift right now the defense is playing on. They have Carly Shelton playing on the other side of second base in that shortstop.
And it's back-to-back walks. So Atwood and Stewart unable to flex the power, but they load the bases anyway, or at least with the 2 of them. Not fully loaded just yet. And another pinch runner to come in here. This will be Adea Wallace. So a pair of speed demons out on the base path for the Longhorns. And Viviana Martinez tasked with trying to bring them home. Texas was able to extend a 1-run lead to 2 in the top of the 7th yesterday. Hoping to do so again now. Corner infielders in. Anderson got halfway to third base and just stayed there. Nobody covering second with that defensive alignment. Tons of space right up the middle. Infielders almost in a square formation. Martinez does not get this one down. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Texas right now is just fighting to really find any way to just extend that lead, trying to get them some insurance runs because, you know, there's a good betting chance South Carolina is going to come out here swinging, trying to do their best to try to walk it off if possible, but Texas is going to need to put up a couple more insurance runs.
Martinez pulls it back, 2-1. Next opportunity, Martinez, beautifully done. Moves them both over.
And that's executing. That is given a task and getting the job done, right? It's nothing fancy, but it does a lot for the offense, right? Instead of runners on first and third, now you have 2 runners in scoring position, and they're able to do that with no outs, right? They still have multiple scoring chances now with less than 2 outs on the board.
And here comes Hannah Wells. Couple of flyouts to left. Again, tied for third on the team in home runs. Off-speed pitch, a little bit low. Apparently some fans disagreed. And now here comes Ashley Chastain Woodard. Might this be the end of Neely Lamb's relief appearance? Let's see. Hasn't been much action in the bullpen. Of course, Jory Hurd could re-enter this game, and it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. Jory Hurd back out to the circle as Neely Lamb faces 4 batters, retires 2, but walks a pair as well. And the ball back in Jory Hurd's proverbial court. Try to keep this deficit at just 1 run. So as Jory warms up, I'll get back to, well, actually, we're going to go ahead and take a break. So we'll be back in just a short time. South Carolina trying to keep it 1-0. Hurd re-enters this game, 89 pitches thrown. She takes on Hannah Wells. With a 1-0 count, now it's 1-1. Hurd only allowed 4 hits today and the 1 run. Had a streak of 8 straight batters retired until Caden Henry put down the perfect bunt for a base hit. And then the subsequent double from Leanne Good plated the Longhorns' only run of the day, which as of now is good enough to get them this series win. South Carolina, of course, will have 1 more chance to try to author a different story. Hannah Wells to the gap. It's down. And the freshman cashes in. Both pinch runners will score. Texas has insurance again. 3-0 Longhorns.
Hannah Wells at the plate, just doing a great job maintaining composure in this. This pitch a little elevated on the outside half. Just gets enough barrel on it to put it out there in center field. Tori Ensley laying out there, trying to do everything she can to just keep that ball in front of her, trying to limit the bases that Wells was going to get. But that at-bat there was just what Texas needed, able to knock in 2 more runs to give them those insurance runs. Now 3-0 over South Carolina here late in the 7th.
Atwood and Stewart drawing walks. Wells with the 2 RBI single. All 3 of them do their job here in the 7th, and all 3 of them pinch run 4. Katie Bennett, most recent Longhorn to exit the dugout. And so now a pinch hitter for Texas as Mike White continues to manipulate his lineup. This is Victoria Hunter, who comes in for J.C. Nichols in the 8-hole. Certainly provides a little bit more power than does Nichols. But Hunter only 3 of 15 this year.
And Hunter really is Coach Mike White's go-to pinch hitter off the bench. Really, when he needs somebody to come in and kind of fulfill a need for him offensively, Victoria Hunter is his go-to pick.
Opportunity for Texas to do some more damage here. Still just one away and the runner on. Here's the 1-2. Checks her swing, and it's called strike 3. So Hunter unable to get it done today. And it's the 5th strikeout for Jory Hurd.
I'll tell you what, those late calls had me questioning my own thoughts right now, what I was seeing, but Hurd just does a great job of painting that corner there on pitch. Able to trying to shut down this Texas offense right now best she can, to try to give her offense really a chance to come up here and try to chip away at that lead.
So regardless of how this weekend ultimately turns out for South Carolina, they have to at least like one thing. They're facing the 20-1 reigning national champions, #3 team in the country, and I've said this a couple times, but it bears repeating. Coming into this weekend, Texas had scored 7 or more runs in a schedule that featured Nebraska twice, Washington twice, Arizona twice, at Stanford. So Texas has played a tough non-conference as well. And South Carolina on 2 straight nights. Now they've got a runner in a pickle, and that pinch runner Bennett is out to end the inning. But I was going to say, just to tie a loose end on that, they've kept the great offense in check. Only trouble for them, their offense has been held even more so in check. They have one last chance to try to even this series. Hannah Wells made that job a whole lot harder. Big 2 RBI knock in the top of the 7th. So right after we had tossed a break, Texas challenged the call at second. Mike White was unsuccessful on a challenge earlier in this game. So too was Ashley Chastain Woodard. The question whether pinch runner Katie Bennett, who was caught in a rundown, got safely into second base. The call was out. See if we can get a replay here. Seen one from a distance on the video board here at Beckham Field, and kind of hard to tell from there.
After review, obstruction was called at second base. The call had been
it was
changed.
Obstruction. Okay, we had this same situation earlier.
1-1.
So let's see.
Texas has not made this challenge. They still have 1 challenge left.
What comes of this? What do you see here, Julia?
Yeah, so you see that foot right there in the path. Now, the rule is kind of all determined on if you have possession of the ball or not, right? And it looks like when Shelton there is covering the bag, her foot is in the base path and is kind of blocking it before she does have possession of the ball. And I think that's kind of where the call is coming from. But I mean, we've seen obstruction be called for so many different things in so many different ways. It's one of those rules right now that is so subjective.
That ultimately results in the 3rd out anyway as Jamie McKay hangs in. So we'll be back, bottom of the 7th next. Trying to close things out for Texas. It's their ace, Tegan Kavan, who pitched a complete game gem a night ago. Why not bring her in to try to finish this off?
I mean, if you're looking at top pitchers in the country right now, she is one of the best to be bringing in and trying to shut down any offense right here late in this game.
Kavan, a reigning All-American and the most outstanding player of the 2025 Women's College World Series, who has never allowed an earned run in Oklahoma City in 31 2/3 innings pitched there. That is obscene. And it's something no one else has ever done, that many innings in a row without allowing a run.
She's just so good and she's so effective. And, you know, her bringing it in is, yes, it's going to be a little tougher for these South Carolina hitters to, you know, time her up, figure her out. But the good thing is they already saw her for a complete game yesterday, right? So they can kind of lean back on those old at-bats. Remember, what did she throw me? How did she attack me? And kind of use that to make their adjustments here late in the 7th.
Last night, Kavan allowed 6 hits, but all singles, just 1 earned run, struck out 5 and stranded 6. 2-2 pitch, called strike 3 on Shea Anderson.
And part of that adjustment these hitters need to be making is she throws a lot harder than Gutierrez as well. Gutierrez, you saw her sitting there, those mid-60s. Kavan with the high 70s there, just painting that outside corner. It's just so effective.
So Jamie McKay now in. We saw her come in defensively into right field in the last half inning. And now she slots in at the DP spot for Alyssa Hovermail. McKay, another transfer from Ole Miss, expected to have a lot of power for the Gamecocks this year. Hasn't quite found her stroke in Columbia just yet. 5 of 28 on the season. Kavan pounds the zone. And these teams will see each other one more time tomorrow, noon on the SEC network. Clay Matvick and Danielle Laurie on the call. Texas will then head home to play one of only 3 midweek games on their entire schedule this year against East Texas A&M. McKay to third, J.C. Nichols, and the Gamecocks are down to their final out. Tegan Kavan looking as sharp as ever. Now a pinch hitter for South Carolina with their last chance, and it's fitting. It's Natalie Heath, because she is the player who has been celebrated today. It's Natalie Heath Day at the ballpark. They were giving away to fans personalized buttons with Heath's likeness and number on them.
And you hear big cheers from here at the ballpark. You know, she's somebody that this crowd really loves and really is dedicated to paying attention to so far.
Well, Heath is a longtime Gamecock who was injured and redshirted, only saw 6 appearances over 3 years, but then last year became really the go-to DP. So much so that she was tied for 2nd on the team in home runs and hit the big one against Nigeri Kennedy in this ballpark when Texas Tech came here for a non-conference series. That was a game that the Gamecocks won 1-0. It was a pitcher's duel, and it was Heath homering off Kennedy that gave them that win. So now can she do the same thing against Kavan? Two balls and 2 strikes to count.
Kavan is right now one of the most challenging pitchers for hitters to face, and part of that as well, she does a great job of mixing pitches in and out, always finds a way to be painting the quarters, but she also finds a way to also really utilize that rise ball with that high velocity. It's just such a tough pitch.
Heath making some contact. Is only her 6th official AB on the season. She is 3 for 5. Two-two pitch. And on the hands. Too far inside. Count is full on Natalie Heath. She's able to extend the ball game. The top of the order comes up for South Carolina. Lindsay Lelio, Carly Shelton, Ariana Rhodey. Gives another fan a souvenir. Ooh, hard deflection. That actually ends up back on the low side of the fence, so no fan is going home with that ball.
I like too, she's a pinch hitter coming off the bench, but she is doing everything she can to take advantage of this opportunity right now, working to a full count against Tegan Kavan.
Swing and a miss. The rise ball beats her, and Texas beats South Carolina for the second straight day. It's a low-scoring battle won by the visitors. Texas has won 19 in a row, and the reigning national champions off to a 2-0 start in year 2 in the SEC.
Great job by the Texas pitching staff as a whole. I thought Gutierrez does a great job of kind of finding her groove. Once she did, South Carolina's offense just unable to push any runs across in this one.
It's the 8th shutout by the Longhorns this season. Stick around because we're going to be talking to the star of the game, Citlali Gutierrez. Outstanding pitching performance for her through 6. We'll talk to her after the break, then wrap this thing up as Texas shuts out South Carolina 3-0 to clinch the series.
And Sid, you talked about it right there. Struggled a little bit early in this game as well. A little bit of struggling finding the zone. What was the mental mind shift for you that kind of let you hone in and really attack the zone there once you found your groove?
Just taking a mental reset. Sometimes I speed up the game a little bit in my head. So just taking that breath, slowing down a little bit, walking back to the end of the pitching mound, and working on my breathing. So